Picture this. It's late at night. Your dog is asleep on the floor, completely relaxed. No fear, no suspicion, just trust. Now imagine replacing that dog with a wild wolf. Suddenly, the scene feels impossible. A wolf isn't supposed to be lying peacefully beside a human. For most of our history, wolves were among the most dangerous animals people could encounter. They were fast, intelligent, coordinated, and perfectly designed for survival. Yet somehow, the descendants of those predators became the animals that greet us at the door, sleep beside our children, and wait patiently for scraps under the dinner table. How did one of humanity's greatest threats become humanity's closest companion? The answer is stranger than most people realize. Because dogs were never invented. No one planned them. In fact, the story may have started with wolves making a decision all by themselves, and it changed the course of human history forever. Thousands of years before cities, before farming, and long before written language existed, the world was a much harsher place. Human beings lived in small groups scattered across enormous landscapes. Every day revolved around a simple question: how do we survive until tomorrow?
Food was unpredictable. Weather was brutal. Injury could be fatal. And danger was everywhere. At night, tiny camps glowed with firelight, while darkness stretched endlessly beyond the flames. And out there, something was watching. Wolves. For ancient humans, hearing a pack howl in the distance wasn't beautiful. It was unsettling. Those sounds belonged to expert hunters, capable of tracking prey across vast distances. Wolves could communicate, cooperate, and pursue animals for hours without stopping. Humans were vulnerable. But something unexpected was happening at the edge of those camps. Humans are messy creatures. Even during difficult times, camps produced leftovers: bones, scraps of meat, skins, and discarded remains. To a hungry wolf, a human campsite represented something incredibly valuable: free food. At first, wolves likely stayed far away. The risk was obvious. Humans carried weapons. Approaching too closely could be deadly. But not all wolves behaved the same way. Some were naturally more cautious. Others were aggressive. And a few were different. A few were curious. Those curious wolves discovered something important. The closer they stayed to human settlements, the easier life became. They no longer needed to risk every hunt. They could survive by scavenging. And that tiny behavioral difference may have started one of the most remarkable evolutionary transformations ever seen. Generation after generation, wolves that tolerated humans gained an advantage. The most aggressive animals were more likely to be driven away or killed. The most fearful animals missed opportunities.
But the calmer, less reactive wolves kept returning. Slowly, almost invisibly, evolution began favoring a new kind of wolf. Not tame, not domesticated, just different. And then researchers discovered something that helps explain exactly how dramatic that process can become. In the middle of the 20th century, scientists in Siberia launched an unusual experiment. Their goal was simple. They wanted to understand domestication. Instead of training animals, they selected only the friendliest foxes for breeding. Nothing else. No special lessons, no rewards, no tricks, just generation after generation of breeding the least aggressive individuals. The results stunned everyone. Within decades, the foxes began acting differently. They sought human attention. They wagged their tails. They became playful and affectionate. But the real surprise wasn't their behavior. It was their appearance. Their ears became floppy. Their faces softened. Their tails curled. White patches appeared in their fur. Animals selected only for friendliness were physically transforming as well. Researchers realized something remarkable. When aggression decreases, entire developmental systems inside the body can change. Behavior and appearance are connected in ways scientists hadn't fully understood. And that discovery offers a glimpse into what may have happened thousands of years ago among wolves living near human camps. The first proto-dogs probably didn't appear overnight. There was no moment when a wolf suddenly became a dog. Instead,
countless small changes accumulated over generations. A slightly calmer temperament, a slightly shorter muzzle, a slightly softer expression. Tiny differences that eventually added up to an entirely new animal. But this wasn't a one-sided relationship. Humans were changing too. Because once wolves started lingering nearby, people began noticing something useful.
The animals heard things humans couldn't hear. They smelled things humans couldn't smell. They detected danger long before people became aware of it. Imagine sleeping in an Ice Age camp. A predator approaches through the darkness. The humans are asleep. The wolves react first. Suddenly, those scavengers aren't just eating leftovers anymore. They're providing information. They're becoming an early warning system. And that's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The relationship stopped being accidental, not because humans planned it, because both species benefited. Humans gained protection. Wolves gained food. Each side improved the other's chances of survival. And when evolution discovers a successful partnership, it tends to strengthen it. Over thousands of years, humans and early dogs became increasingly connected. The animals helped locate prey. They tracked scents across terrain that humans struggled to read. They could follow wounded animals for enormous distances. Some researchers believe hunting with dogs became such a powerful advantage that groups possessing canine companions simply outperformed groups that didn't. If that's true, dogs didn't just help humans survive. And the connection went far beyond food. Scientists eventually discovered one of the most fascinating pieces of evidence for our shared history: eye contact. For wolves, prolonged eye contact can be a threat. For dogs, it's often an expression of trust. When humans and dogs gaze into each other's eyes, both experience increases in oxytocin. This hormone plays a major role in emotional bonding between parents and children. In other words, evolution didn't just shape dogs to tolerate humans, it shaped them to connect with human emotions. And humans responded. People were naturally drawn toward animals that seemed expressive, animals that looked attentive, animals that appeared to understand. Over many generations, dogs developed facial muscles that allow them to create expressions humans find especially appealing. Those famous puppy dog eyes aren't just cute. They may be the result of thousands of years of evolutionary communication, a silent language built between two entirely different species. But this relationship wasn't without consequences. Domestication gave dogs safety, companionship, and access to resources. It also cost them something. Much of the wild independence that defined their ancestors gradually disappeared. And as human breeding became more selective, new problems emerged.
Certain modern breeds suffer from serious health complications. Some struggle to breathe. Others experience spinal disorders. Some require medical intervention simply to reproduce. The very process that created extraordinary diversity also introduced vulnerabilities. Yet despite everything humans changed, traces of the wolf never completely vanished. You can still see them. A dog circles before lying down. Why? Wild ancestors likely flattened grass before resting. A dog buries food. A dog howls at a distant sound. A sleeping dog twitches while dreaming. Ancient instincts continue surfacing through modern behavior. They had become companions, perhaps even family, and that's what makes this story so extraordinary. It wasn't built through conquest.
It wasn't engineered through a grand plan. It began with a few wolves lingering near the glow of distant campfires, a little less fearful than the others, a little more curious. What followed was a partnership unlike anything else in nature. Together, humans and dogs crossed mountains, survived winters, explored new territories, and adapted to changing worlds. Each species helped shape the other. Each influenced the other's future. And all because fear slowly gave way to familiarity. So tonight, when a dog curls up beside a couch, rests near a bed, or falls asleep at someone's feet, you're witnessing the outcome of a relationship that began in the Ice Age. A relationship older than agriculture, older than kingdoms, older than written history itself. Somewhere deep inside that sleeping companion is the shadow of a wolf that once stared cautiously from the darkness beyond a campfire.
And somewhere deep inside us remains the memory of the humans who decided that the creature watching from the edge of the light wasn't an enemy anymore. It was a friend.